Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Pro Football GMRX. I am your host, Roy Pickett. I will be providing you with my insights and opinions about choices and decisions that general managers face and make throughout the year. In this episode, I'll be going over some of the various contracts that wide receivers have signed recently and two high-profile wide receivers who were wanting new deals. A couple of weeks ago, Michael Thomas made headlines asking to get paid somewhere in the ballpark of $22 million per season. I believe Michael Thomas is probably the second best wide receiver in the NFL. I have DeAndre Hopkins as the number one wide receiver and Michael Thomas coming in at number two. So he has some good production with Drew Brees. Last year he had over 1,400 yards with 125 catches and 9 touchdowns. So where do we go and how do we establish what the market is for him? The very first name that people will bring up is Sammy Watkins, who got a $16 million per year average salary by Kansas City. It was a 3-year, $48 million deal with $30 million guaranteed. And then you take a look at what he did in Kansas City. He only had 40 catches, 3 touchdowns, and 500 yards. That is some poor production for that kind of money, especially when you consider that Tyreek Hill was there and he was doing a lot of the production for the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. So if you want to say that this guy gets $16 million and he only had 40 catches, then Brandon Cooks, he had twice as many catches, twice as many yards, almost twice as many touchdowns, and he's only making 16.2. Now Brandon Cooks has gone around the league from New Orleans to New England to the Rams. He's very talented, as the production shows, and he got $49 million of guaranteed money. This is very important to note because the guaranteed money is really the only thing that the players can fully expect to see. Coaches can be fired, schemes can be replaced, and a player that was a valuable asset for one guy could be expendable by the next. So the players are really looking for that guaranteed money more than this total. The agents like the total. It sounds fancy when you get on television. You say he's going to be making over $90 million, or he may or he may not. The guaranteed money is really where it's at. The average salary is kind of where I'm focused on because that's how the salary caps are affected. Now you can do a little maneuvering with math, try to get some more in signing bonus that can be prorated out over the length of the contract. But this is generally in that ballpark of where you're going to be with the player every year on the salary cap. So next on this list is Odell Beckham Jr. He is $18 million guy making $65 million guaranteed, and the $90 million is the most on this list. Odell Beckham has many fans. People will put him or Antonio Brown at the top of the personal favorites of who they think is the best wide receiver in the league. He only had 77 catches, 3 less than Brandon Cooks. He only had 1 more touchdown, and he had 12 or 200 yards less. So I don't know Odell Beckham Jr.'s that much better than Brandon Cooks. And I don't really hear too many people talk about Brandon Cooks as being the best wide receiver in the league. But the main thing is that we're kind of comparing apples to apples. And one of the things that I'm looking at in terms of salary cap is what is this number one wide receiver costing me compared to other players. And Odell Beckham Jr.'s $18 million is about 9.5% of the salary cap going to one guy. Keenan Allen is about 5.98 or 6% of the salary cap. And if I look at his production, he is head and shoulders above Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, touchdowns are the same, 20 more catches, 100 more yards. He's only getting $20 million guaranteed instead of the 65. He's only got $45 million total compared to the 90 of Odell Beckham. So Keenan Allen's helping me as far as establishing the bottom end of the market. I can use this nice little contract that the Chargers were able to sign him to and say, look, Keenan Allen's not that much worse off than you guys, and here he is getting this paid at 6% of the salary cap. And you want me to pay you how much? Here's Mike Evans. Love this guy. I think he's a top 5 kind of wide receiver. I would use him as like my standard to compare contracts with. He's at $16.5 million. Now you got to adjust for a little bit of inflation. His guaranteed was about $55 million. Got 82 of total. But look at his production. He's got the most yards, 86 catches, and 8 touchdowns. So he's at the upper end of all the things. And he is a 8.7% salary cap guy. I could work with that. Now, Jarvis Landry, he's in the 8% deal. He's got $47 million guaranteed. Production's about the same. Not as many touchdowns as I would like, but you kind of get the gist of where we're going here. Now, the last thing that you want to do is look at somebody like Tyler Boyd. He's on his rookie deal. He made $1 million. That is about half of 1% of the salary cap. And then you look at his production. Over 1,000 yards, over 70 catches, 7 touchdowns. I may not want to get into a huge 10, 11% contract with a wide receiver when I can go and find me a wide receiver in the draft. It's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. I can get me some good offensive linemen, signed up to some long contracts, keep my quarterback in the house, and go from there. Find me a good rookie. But some people like to have the bird in the hand. We know what Michael Thomas can do when he's with Drew Brees. And, that's a decision every general manager has to look at. If I can't get my price on my player, then I've got to go somewhere else and see what's out there and how I can replace talent with talent, or, better, a similar talent with a lot less money. So that brings me to Michael Thomas. Here I'm going to put him in that $18.6 million range. It was reported he wanted 22. That still has him below 10% of the salary cap, which is something that I think is imperative for a wide receiver. I don't want to pay a wide receiver more than 10%. I would probably put DeAndre Hopkins at that 9.95%. And I would put everybody else in the league under that. Amari Cooper, I got him at about 9.16%. And if you want to compare the guaranteed money, I got Thomas up here with Mike Evans. Maybe I could extend the guaranteed money a little bit with Michael Thomas and get him over Mike Evans, or approach this Odell Beckham Jr. thing, which I think is kind of a little ridiculous as far as guaranteed money for Odell Beckham Jr. But Michael Thomas is going to probably want somewhere in that $57 to $63 million guaranteed money. And if I can keep the total to 93 and keep my average salary on the salary cap somewhere in this 18.6, I could probably do more guaranteed money. As for Amari Cooper, this is a hot mess going on in Dallas. You got Dak Prescott trying to see if he can get closer to that Carson Wentz money. I've talked about that in previous videos. I would pay Dak about $29 million. I hate doing it because I don't believe that Dak is a top 10 or top 7. I think maybe the top 7 quarterbacks should get paid crazy money. But then you get into the average pool, which I put Dak Prescott in. I have him ranked about 14th or 15th out of a league of 32 teams. I have a hard time giving him crazy money. I know that's what the market says you have to do. It's what Carson Wentz did. Kirk Cousins has established a market, but I wouldn't go there. So here we are. We got Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, and Zeke Elliott all getting ready to get paid. So how do you do it? So my first thing is I'm trying to sign Amari Cooper right now. $17.25 million. It gets me at 9.16%. That's salary cap. I can work with that, especially since Amari Cooper was sort of the straw that stirred the drink. When he got there from Oakland, Dak Prescott looked horrible. Now, maybe that was because he didn't have Dez and Witten to throw to, and Michael Gallup was just still learning. Cole Beasley is who he is. I don't know. But when Amari Cooper got there, I know things turned around in a hurry, and Dak started looking good. So I need Cooper on the field. I'm going to give him a $32 million guaranteed. That's more than what Sammy Watkins got. It's not anywhere close to what Mike Evans and Jarvis Landry got. So, again, maybe Jerry Jones throws some guaranteed money in that direction. I'm going with a 4-year, $69 million deal just to try to keep the salary cap ramifications from hurting me too bad, so I can sign Dak and Zeke. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Dallas. And I can't wait to see what happens with Michael Thomas and Amari Cooper this year. If they do get their contracts done here before the season starts, I can't wait to come back and look at this video and see how close I was in my offer as to what they actually signed. Again, hope you appreciated this video. You learned something. Might have got an idea about what you would pay Michael Thomas or Amari Cooper. And keep your general manager's feet to the fire. Please like it or subscribe. And that concludes this video. Thanks.